Hello and welcome to this tutorial. I'm going to show you how we can make up this lovely Series 3 Land Rover, and I'm going to do it in what we call paper piecing. So all the elements are going to come together like so, and we're just going to hold it together with tape at the back. That will enable us to really pop it down anywhere that we want to in the card. Now, to start off, if you go to our website, allthewspapercrafts.co.uk, you can download a free colour sample that I've got here, and I've printed this onto 250 GSM Super Smooth, and that gives me the base colour. And I'm going to go for the classic green, and the roof could be the soft top can really be any colour that you like. I'm probably going to go for a slightly lighter one. I might maybe go for that one there. You could have a darker one there as well, but it's up to you. Or you can use your card as well, that you've got any card stock around. You can see I've used the lighter one. That works quite well. The old soft top there. The other thing I'm going to do, being a bit of a landy purist, all of the bright work, all the chrome work that we'd have on all our other cards, which I've actually done here, I've just made it nice and shiny, would actually be slightly dull. It was all galvanised. So I found some lovely off silver, and I'm going to use that instead. But you can, if you want to make it bright and shiny, go for it. It's up to you. Okay, so we'll start off with the die and with the colour card that we want to work with. And I said in this instance I'm going to be using the preset ones here. I'll just reach across. I've got bits of card that come close that I could use as well if I wanted to, but that's to hand, so we'll use that. So my first job will just be to take one of the squares out, and it's going to be obviously that one for the green, and then pop the die over it. Now, most of what we want to get basically this part of the vehicle. We're not so worried about the tyres and bits and pieces, so I'm just going to pop it in around there like that. That I know now, a little bit overhang there and there, definitely gets me the green for the bodywork, and a piece of tape just to hold it into position as we pop that onto our plates for cutting. I'm just going to run that through the machine as ever close to the edge as you can get. I could actually spin it around there and get a bit closer, but leave a little bit of gap at the start to allow it to go through the machine. And then I'm simply going to run this through. There's going to be lots of little bits. I can flip it that way, it'll stay within the die, but that's not so crucial. So in it goes. Release that, and we've got everything. I can see I've actually captured everything on there. There's parts that I don't need. I just missed slightly the front bumper, but that was fine. When you take it off the plate, always check. There's one little part missing there. Now I don't actually need that. That's in green. But if I look on my board, can I show you? That's good eyesight. It's just stuck on there. So when we do want that piece, just always check that everything's where you want it to be. Now I'll just separate this. We don't need that little bit there. Just take that bit off there and just pull that away. I can see a little bit more. Now remove the tape, save that again. Bit of recycling. I can just tap this. I'm not too worried about the tiny bits because I'm not actually using those. It's mostly the body. So quick tap, just get rid of those. And I'll just, this is all about to just drop out, but so I don't get too many bits everywhere. I'll just release that. And then I can, not so much to tidy up. And there we go. That's the main body now of our Land Rover out here. And what I got to do now is just really separate the soft top from the top of the car, the top of the vehicle, and it's just held on in a couple of places. So a snip there, just to separate it, and you'll see it dropping away here. So again, just a little snip there, and that's the body there. Now we're going to do the wheels in black. wheels and tyres, and again they can be separated, and you'll see the little bits just holding on in there, and they're held in within the vehicle, so a snip there, again just a snip there, remove that unless you want green tyres, and again we can look there and you'll see that it just needs to be little snip, and that's out. And of course we've got that back wheel there, so snip onto there, and a little snip there, whoops, and that's the back tyre I got rid of. Keep the door, because I think that's kind of useful. There we go. So that's the main body of our Landrover there. So the next thing to do is I'm just going to run through the same process but use a colour for the roof, and I think I'll just go for slightly darker colour than I've got here. So again, I'm just going to cut this out and then pop the dye onto it, and we'll come back and then we'll put the first two elements together. There we go, that's come out there now. You can see, and again you could give this a tap and most of the bits are going to come flying out, but I'm being a little bit careful because I want to keep this as clean as possible. So I'm just going to, with my trusty craft knife, you'll see this will just come out. There we go, because that's the part I'm after up there. So again, we just need to separate these, and it was the same as the body was to there. So a little bit of a snip in there, and a little bit of a snip at the end there, and the roof comes away. I'll bring back the bodywork there now. We can see that's all going to line up. So to get that to stick, I'm going to pop that over like so, and I'm building up using tape here, because what I want to do is be able to move this around and position it on the card wherever I want it to go. If you know exactly where it's going, you can build up everything on the card, but I just like to show you this method. So I'm going to use some masking tape here. I'm using bright green just so it shows up, but you don't have to use it that colour. You could use clear tape. I'm just going to lock the roof in. You can see that comes in really easily, and with a bit of tape just get that into position there, and along the front here. Remember, when we finally glue it in, it will all hold it down as well. We just want to keep the pressure against that. I'll flip that over and see what it looks like. One of the advantages of using tape is that when you come to glue it, this will accept the glue quite readily as well. With a clearer plastic tape, it's not quite so good. If we just flip that over, we can see everything slots in, and we've got the basis there now for our lovely Landrover. The door itself, that could do with a little bit of tape just to hold it into position. That's just held in. The cutting lines just give us a little bit more detail, but that stays within it. So again, a little bit of tape just to hold it. Get rid of that. You notice sometimes I will cut onto here because it's 250 GSM. My knife's quite sharp. I can just take off little bobbles like that if I need to. The rest of it, it's a little bit floppy, but if you want to, pop a bit of tape across there just while you're manhandling it, but it will all stay into position for you. So there we go. Okay, so next colour for me is going to be the black, which will give us the tyres and the insets for all the wheels here. It'll also give us the background for the inside of the cab, and also for the mirrors as well. And there's a few little details we can drop back into there, and a steering wheel. So lots of bits on there, and the freewheeling hub, the hub drives on the caps on the front of the wheels as well. So there's some little bits we're going to have to look out for on this. Okay, so again, back to the dye and some nice black card. So again, dye down, hold it into position. Now we only need, well, what we're really after is the wheels here. We need a wing mirror up there, a couple of wing mirrors, and some of the caps here, hubcap, well, not the hubcaps, the actual locking, freewheeling devices on there that stick out of the Landrover. And and we need the side part there. So bottom line, what I'm trying to say is do it all. Just stick it on a piece of black card, do the whole lot because it's all scattered around there. You're going to need various elements from it. And again, close to the edge, give a little bit gap from the start and pop it in. And because we're going to use so many parts, I'm going to flop it down that way and do it this way so everything stays within the die. So I've run that through the machine. I'll just lift it up from here. And the first thing I notice is that nothing's disappeared out of here, which doesn't actually surprise you on this one. I've actually used quite thick card. This is a 350 GSM card, so it's quite thick, heavy stuff. And you can see it tends to grab hold of everything a little bit more. But on the upside, the detail on the tyres and is a lot deeper and crisper when we actually get to see those. So it's a little bit of a payoff. If not, a normal 250 GSM, absolutely fine. But you can see one or two of the bits breaking away. I've got those still trapped in there. And again, because I want to keep so much of it, I won't give this die a little bash. It will come out really easily, but it's just slightly held in. If we turn that over, you can see there's lovely deep impressions on everything there, and that's what I was after. Okay, a few little bits left in the die, so I'm going to just carefully put that to one side. Again, we don't really need that, so carefully pop that away. So because this card is so thick, I know that most of the elements will stay in there. From here, I need the two parts of the wheels here for the hubs, the steering wheel and the two mirrors. So at this stage, it's probably not a bad thing just to pop those out and keep those somewhere safe. Okay, nothing really complicated here. You'll see it's just held in, everything's held in usually just by two little tabs. So that's one wheel there. Flip that round and again, just run it down into the existing cut line. And I can separate that. That gives me another one. Just pop those out the way. And we've got one here as well. So again, I'll just snip that like so. I tend to run into the line and then just pull it out like so. Whatever method you like. So those are my three wheels there. And we've got the inside as well. Now this is where we are going to end up with a few little bits. Because we really only want, you can see a cut line in there. We only want that one there, there, and we actually only want the pillar that's in there. And if I think this is a relatively straightforward, easy one to put together, but that's the one little bit that's perhaps slightly fiddly, and I'll come back and talk to you about that, only with positioning. So where do we go from here? Oh, actually, look, there's my door handle there. It wasn't the other part. So the first thing I'm going to do now is just release that and pop it with my pile of goodies. You see how, all right, it's a little piece there, but it'll be good. Okay, so coming back here, the first thing I'm going to do quite roughly is just separate the roof because I don't need that. I do need all the windows. Oh, and they're dropping out on me. So, but that's good. I want to just keep that there. I'm not going to separate anything out here just yet. I'm just going to pull them out so that we know exactly where all the bits are. So it does cut really well. And if you're lucky, just like this, it's just holding itself in there. I'll drop that one out there and drop that one there. Just knock it out and just pop it over. It's just remembering which goes where. So I'm just trying to flip that over the other way to show you. This won't be as pesky for you, I don't think. But when I come to separate it, I'll just need the lower bit down there. And the same again for this one here. I'll just need the lower part. And it was just to remind me where everything's going to go. So I'm just going to carefully move that out the way. You'll notice I manipulate everything with my craft knife quite a lot, but it really doesn't damage the surface. You don't see sort of lots of big craters or holes in it. Okay, I think we've salvaged everything from this that we can. I'm just thinking it looks quite nice in black, doesn't it? Do you know, that's the beauty of this. Make it any colour that you like. I've had loads of these old gals in my life, and any colour is a great colour, as far as I'm concerned. Right, let's get going, get cracking with this. I digress. I'm going to do the easier part first. and put the wheels in and start on there. But before I do that, let's just show you here, we are going to have to run another colour through, and we're going to have to use our white for the parts that are going to go in here. So I'm just going to pop that one out, and again, if I just show you on this one, and then we'll use the same technique for all of them. That one needs to come out, but you'll notice again it's just slightly held in, so I just move that up to there. We're just going to run into the existing cut line and just separate it, come through, and boom, and that bit comes out. And we're going to reverse that process to get all the white parts for the wheels, and I can see all the bits that I need in here. So I'll just release that from there. I said I don't cut everything all at once, or else I end up with loads of bits and I start to lose it. But maybe with the tyres we could do both lots, and then, but it's up to you. This is a nice thing, you just make it your way. That will come apart there. Now if I just pick this up, I'm going to get everything come out again, which is fine. But what I have got now is that part of the wheel there, the inner hubcap in white, and I'll just release that. Again, you could bash this and all the bits will come out, but I don't want all the bits everywhere at this stage. So I'll just carefully move that one out the way and remove the die. So I don't need to cut anything from there. I only need the centre bit from here. And again, incidentally, this is I'm working on the reverse of the die. It's slightly more detailed. Whoops, on the other side. And that's that part there. And if I show you on the front again with two little cut lines, one there and one there, and we've separated that part as well. Flip it over and you'll see it's got a more beveled edge. You know that's the front, which is the front and the back. There we go, so we're ready to do the tyres. So if I just bring this one down here and pop this one here like so, and that will just fit in like that. And we use our tape method to hold everything together. To just show you a couple of ways of doing this. It just really depends. If you're unsure everything's going, you know, I'm just going to show you this because I'll chop and change with each thing that I make. I'm going to just pop a little bit of tape over there, like so. Just cut the little bit off there that I don't want, like that. Then flip this over. And now with this part, I can just drop it in. And I want the larger part towards the front, something like this. I'll just show you. So with the tape now on the back, that's ready just to have something stuck on. And I can see my wheel here, and I want this larger part at the front. So now I definitely know I'm right. I'm just going to pick that up there and just drop it in. It'll sit onto the tape like so. That's just another method of working with it. And we're going to do exactly the same for the other wheels. So let's just bring that one here. And again, that part's just going to sit in like so on there. I'll flip that over. It's almost wedged its way in there. So a little bit of tape. Just hold that into position. And there we go. And we'll just do that for the for all of them. And so the last one, number 3, is there. And again, I just need to separate that part there. So a little cut onto there, cut into here. That part's come away. And this one is just going to slot in there like so. So again, if I just pop that over and pop that over there. Whoops. There we go. And then it pays to have your tape ready, so when it's held down, you're good for go. And there we are. Fantastic. So there are all those bits there, and they're ready to now stick back onto the Landrover. And I'm going to come back and we'll look at these inner parts as well. The wheels are now ready to be fitted, so I'm just going to flip this over like so, and we'll just start popping these in. And there's an obvious way, a right and a wrong. It's just a case of just slotting it in so it locks back in like so. And you'll feel that go to there. And again, a little bit of tape just to hold that into position. It keeps everything nice. Again, when we glue it finally in its sounds awful, in its final resting place, you'll know exactly where it is, and then anything that isn't quite stuck down will be firmly attached. But this way it makes a pretty good bond. Again, I'm just going to pop that into there and then pop a little bit of tape onto there. Try and avoid anything overlapping if you can. If it does, I think at this stage it's easier just to slice it in and neaten it up there. You don't need masses of tape to hold it all in. You can see that's quite firm. Then we've got this wheel here at the front, and there's a little lip. I'll just bring that up there. You can see that just locks into there, so it's a natural place for it to be, like so. And again, I tend to hold it into position with one hand. Should line that up. There it is. I felt it lock in, and then pop my tape on to hold it, and that actually keeps it held together slightly under pressure, pulls it in, because as we cut we do lose a little bit of the paper. That's an inevitable process, but you'll see it's actually pretty good. You're not seeing massive gaps everywhere, but we have lost a tiny little slither in between. That said, it's looking really nice. Everything's there. Our Landrover's really coming together. Love it. So we're already on the final furlong. The next thing to do is the inside parts here, and that's where it's a little bit trickier because we need our window parts here, and the first part is quite small. We're going to chop those two bits off there and drop one into there and the triangular one into there. At this point, we've got a number of ways of doing it. It might be better to work in reverse. Look, have a go at making these and see what works best for you. But what I'm going to do now, just show you another little technique, just for the more fiddly bits. I know I've got to hold it in, and it's going to come up about 3 or 4 millimeters up on the window there. So I'm going to put my tape across now, like so. Just for this part, I can work backwards. So I've got my little bit of green tape showing there. Whoops. So let's start with the bigger of the two here. And I've got a little cut mark. You can probably see it there. Little cut mark. So I just need to cut across there like that. Then that part can just rest in there. So I've captured it now. And take that bit there. Again, cut it and just drop it into there. So I'm just working across the back of my Landrover there. Just pop that in there, and those bits have held the way into position. And now for the front window, again, there's just 2 little bits out here, like so. So I might just find that easier just to pop it over and run it in. Make sure I get it the right way. Run it in there like so. And now I can just hold a little bit of tape on there if I want to, and that holds that one into position. And then I've got a few tricky bits going on here, because I just bring the other one back in. We've got a little line there and a bit there. So there's one that's resting in there. So again, I think what I'll do is just pop a little bit of tape across there. I should really cut it a little bit more neatly. Flip it over, and then come back to this part here, and we'll separate that one there and there, and I can just rest that into the vehicle like so. So it's all coming together really nicely. In truth, if I know exactly where this is going, when I've stuck it into position, I could put it in there. But let's just go like so. I'm going to flip this over, take this bit here, and that one will just flip over. It's not that critical, it's only tiny, and it just sits roughly around here, like so. So we can put a little bit of tape on it. Let's take a tiny slither of tape, just hold it into position there. Again, another tiny little slither of tape. Oops. And just hold it into position there as well. Alternatively, a little dob of glue at each part there and there, and you can just hold it in. That is probably the fiddliest little bit there is, but it's not too bad. And then that just holds itself into position there, like so. So a couple of things to do before we sort of walk away from the black parts, as it were, is glue. Whoops, get that out of the way. I've got the steering wheel here, a little bit of glue, a few dots of glue on that. Oops. Let's pop it down there. Now this is a black steering wheel on a black background, but because of the let's get that into position. Because of the lovely way that the dies create this embossed edge, you'll still see it sitting in there. It's just going to raise itself up, and you can notice it. It's that little bit of detail there. And we've got the door handle there. So a bit of tape across the back. And I think it'll be easier to come in and work on that. I'm just using a tiny little bit of black that we've got there. You could put a little bit of silver in. Off the top of my memory, I can't really remember much about the door handles, but that kind of shows up a little bit more on there. So, quick look, everything's in position, and our Landrover's very, very nearly there. Last but not least, we've got the wheel, the big wheel hubs on here. So a spot of glue. I'll just clean my glue, and now it's coming out at full force, perhaps a little bit more than I would like. So I'm just going to dab a little bit of that off from there, and it's back to these parts again. So that was from our cutting of the black card, so that just slots into there, and then there's a smaller one, just get that, whoops, like so, and that just sits in there. You'll see the little lines, the embossing lines, that just give you an idea of where everything goes. I'll just pop that into there. There we go, it lines up the embossing lines, there or thereabouts. It's just the sort of little bits of detail. Okay, I'm pretty sure I've got everything sorted out there now, but there are two more little things to do, so it's always worth double checking. And the last bit, if you want to add them on, will be the mirrors. And we've got two mirrors. Again, I'll just bring those up into shot here. There's a left and a right hand one, and they just sit up, well, it depends wherever you want them to go. But on my ones, these just sit on the wing, so I've popped those here. I've done these in black. You may want to go with the silver, but I think this just adds a little bit of contrast, makes it look slightly more rugged. But that really is a matter of choice for you. And that one just sits up on the wing there, and I'll let that dry off a bit, and then that glue, I'll just dab a little bit now, but that will all just disappear as it dries. And the second one just sits up off the top of the wing here, and I'm just going to glue the wing first. Again, a little bit of glue, because the mirror actually sticks up and over. So manipulating that with my craft knife, I'll just grab a bit of the glue there and just rest it into position, hold it with my finger, and again any excess can come away. And there we go. So it's a matter of personal choice. I've just put black on because it just, I think, makes it look a bit more aggressive. I think mine were painted black, but any colour that you like. This is the beauty of this. It is just a serving suggestion. You make it your way. But the important thing is all the parts from the black card have now been used up and popped down. And these are optional extras. If you don't want to put them on, oh, it's a bit fiddly, don't bother. You could at a push, you could even leave that little line out there if you want to. No one's going to really know. So it's up to you how far you want to go. Next stage now, everything's coming together, looking really lovely, is to put on the bright work, the silver, the lights and bits and pieces as well. I'm now ready to put the silver parts on, and the first thing I'm going to need is the bumper, and I've left everything in there. I've just, some of it's stuck in a little bit more securely than the others. I want to show you here now just some of the parts and what we're doing. So the bumper runs across the front here, and I'm going to use a little bit of glue here just on the wheels and then run that over there. With my craft knife, just pick that up. And it sits just above those two little brackets, just touch the bodywork there, and that just sits over the wheels, and again a little bit of pressure just to hold it in there. But the silver's really nice here because it's this off silver. It's more like the anodized surface that would have been there. So that's the biggest part. The next one is we have the grill there. I'll just get the radiator from here. There we go. And that's going to stick down. You can see the marks on the existing grill. So a few dots of glue on here. It is a metallic surface, so it takes a little bit more stick, and then on it goes, and just line up with the marks underneath there or thereabouts. I think I'm just slightly low, but anyway, it'll be all right, that's fine. And then we've got windscreen wipers, but we've got the opportunity now of going a little bit further, and on the actual Landrover there is a aluminium surround across here, which is actually part of this, and then we've got some windscreen wipers and a fuel cap. The fuel cap just sits here, so I'm going to pop that on now, and then so a little blob of glue there, perhaps a wee bit too much. And out of that part of the die there, it just curves over and it sits on there. A little bit of tissue. There we go, it takes the excess off, and that just rests in there. So the next thing to do is actually really separate this, and I want to, there's two elements I want from here to really finish off. Are one, the surround here, two there, and three, I'm actually going to keep these little silver bits here, which I'm going to pop onto the headlight areas and just colour in, because I think that's easier. And we could do the same for the main headlights as well, or you could go for the white and then colour those in if you wanted to as well, but I quite like the silvery ones. See how it turns out. Anyway, so the next thing to do, I'm just going to pop that to one side and just carefully pull this out, because I've got all the other bits in there that I need. I don't need that bit, so that's okay. And again, what I'm going to do is just separate what I don't need, which is up here, and just take that part there. That will give me the top running over the door. I need that little bit in the door there, so I'll pop that to one side. And then it's probably easier to flip it over. You can see in a lot more detail what's happening. So I'm going to come down to here, onto that line and across. So I'll just separate just above the air vents, because it's just a little bit easier. You've got the cut marks there already. Turn that round, come to there, and just come a wee bit lower, because there's a bracket that goes down. So to there, cross to there, and separate that. Now you don't have to put this bit in if you don't want to. I'm just going to round those corners off just slightly. Pop that to one side, and while I'm cutting this, I'll just liberate that bit of the door there as well. Try not to lose anything, and I'll pop everything to one side over there. Come back to my Landrover here. Okay, so again, a little bit of glue just to hold this on. Just get that going. Just use the top to nudge it along, a few little drops down to there, along there, and just up there. That will hold it into position, and it just runs along there as well. pick that up and it will just slot really nicely up into the roof, down to there. A little bit of pressure, hold it on. Fantastic, that's all in, and that just adds to the overall look of it. Again, this is extra details, you don't have to put it in if you don't want to. I'll just spread a little bit of glue along there, use my precision tip, bring in part from the door there, and that just slots on into there like so. And there we go. For the moment, that's all of our chrome into position, and I think it's looking really lovely. Now, you can stop at various points, you don't have to do this, but I'm just taking it really to the nth degree here to show you how it all looks. So what we're going to do now is just have a look at the headlights, come back, and that's really then our Land Rover done. The number plate, I've got one in silver here, but we could do that in white, would sit above, as I said, up there, rather than below, and it is in perspective, so you just want to turn it and make sure it's actually like that, so that those two are vertical there. You could pop that on if you wanted to, and then just hand write something in there if you want to, or pop a little something on the computer, some text. But the headlights are really the part that finishes it off. Now, when we cut this out at the start with the green body, there was some extra parts on there. If I just come back and show you that they were these parts here, and these are just an optional extra if you want to put it on. Again, that's in perspective, so just go that away like so. It just adds a little bit more realism if you want to, and it really is entirely up to you. You can just go on and pop the headlights in, or you can use these bits from the original green body. If I just show you on this one, I'm just going to cut out that bit there. That's really where the headlight's going to just slot back into as well. I think my craft knife's a little bit blunt now. Let's just pop that in there. And that one goes around the other side. So, yeah, I'd like to pop those on. It's just a little attention to detail. But again, feel free now to just go ahead and work the headlights as in the next stage. But I'm going to just pop these on, because I just think it adds to the overall realism. So, first one goes in there, like so. And then the second one, whoops, and that was going so well, wasn't it? There we go. Yeah, I think I've probably used up all my glue. I only need a little dot, and then I can use the tip to spread it around. There we go. Looks messier than it is, especially in super high definition. There we go. So that just rests up against the line there. It just adds a little bit of, I think, a tiny little bit of extra detailing. There was a plate that sat over there on the originals. Now, when we come to do these little lights here, do you know what? I really recommend just popping in a little bit of silver onto there and then colouring it in. And those parts are here. There's two there and two there. So I'm going to put a blob of glue in the middle of each. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm just going to pop those in, and so one there, and they are kind of in perspective, so there's you'll see it's just slightly elliptical, but it doesn't matter, there or thereabouts. Again, drop that one on there, pop that in there, so the two smaller ones just go on the other side there, one, and the other one just rests in there like that. And then you could colour those. One's going to be orange and one stays white anyway, so it's the orange one's down there. So we can come back with our felt tip pens for that. And then if we just have a look now, we've got the headlights, and again you've got a choice here. You can drop that in off of the silver and just put those in and colour them in if you want to. So we'd end up with one going in here and then one on the other one. And that's what I'm going to favour doing today. So I'm going to drop a bit of glue into there, pick up my headlight here, and just drop that into there like so. And then the other one we cut out, I'll just show you. That's this piece here, and again that's what I call the little C. So we're going to release that part there. So a snip with my blade there, and a little snip there. I know this is tiny and my fingers are quite big, but I'm hoping you can see. And that's going to just slot into that hole back there. So a little bit of glue into there. And that just rests against the bulkhead there. And in it goes. And there we go, that's our Land Rover pretty well there. So the next stage to do, I'm just going to rustle up a few pens and we'll have a go at colouring in. And I've got a blue felt tip pen here. I'm just going to add a little bit of blue onto the headlight there. And there. And that will just dry down, and that just gives, I think, quite a good look. It saves cutting another colour. And I'm just reaching across, I've got an orange. And I'll just colour in a little bit of orange there and there. I think that saves a lot of time and looks quite nice. That gives that kind of feel of luminosity to the lights, etc. So that's all pretty good. So last one, at least we could pop on a number plate if we wanted to up there. That would just sit above. But all our elements are in there together. Not a difficult one to make, just as ever, just takes a little bit of time to get everything together. No real hardship, but a few little bits, but you can stop as and when you want to. You don't have to add everything in there if you don't want to. Last but not least, just looking at this, we've got a couple of windscreen wipers we can add to it. They sit in the die here. They're just a slight curve to those. One there and one there. Just try and ease that out. There we go. And I'll just pop a little bit of glue on there. Just trying to think how these go. I think, if memory serves me right, they were opposite each other. So I'll put a bit of glue there and a little bit of glue there, and I can run it across. You know, I'd have to check on that, but let's just go like so. Again, it's just a little bit of extra detail. You don't have to add this in if you don't want to. I'm chasing it around here. Let's turn that round there. So I find it quite useful. Tweezers are good. I know lots of people work with their tweezers as well. I was hoping to catch a little bit of that, and that's probably a bit high, isn't it? Yeah, let's go like that. So here is our finished Land Rover, and I think you'll agree it looks really, really nice. A few little bits to fiddle around with if you want to, or you can, add less, like the windscreen wipers, not necessary, etc. But it comes together fairly easily. It does take a little bit of time, these do, but all things in all time, they're worth it, That's part of the crafting process, the journey as well as the destination. Now, we also have on our transport CD, if I just show you this, we have a pre-cut out. Now, I haven't finished this one, but you can see that it comes together and it's in different colours, and all the bits are kind of ready coloured for you, as it were. And that's on our transport CD-ROM, which you can see on our website, allthewspapercrafts.co.uk. So that's two different styles, and there will be a generic tutorial just showing you how these work, and they're very simple, but you still put it together pretty much like this, and then you can see we'd need to pop the bumper on and pop in a few other bits and pieces as well. Okay, now this works very, very well with our box cards. So you can see these work particularly well with our popping display boxes as well, where you get all the backgrounds and different sceneries and bits and pieces. Again, that's on from the transport CD. I'll show you this one. We've got a sort of military based, although we've used a nice, just show you a contrast, a sort of a green metallic paper as well. We popped our greeting on the front. So all of this again on the Transport CD-ROM. I hope this tutorial has inspired you to have a go. It really is pretty straightforward, takes a little bit of time. And just to cover a few points to say, I actually stuck everything on the back so we could pick it up and have a look at how it was stuck together with tape. But if you know exactly where it's going to go on your card, then you can just build things up like this and stick them down. So really the choice is yours. Either way, it's for me it's fun to make. I hope it is for you. Enjoy your crafting, have fun, and see you soon. Take care. Bye bye.